Jump the gun there
Take
a little.
two.
False start.
He gave me the nod. I
False
thought the
start.
nod was it.
He always
Crow.
points.
Birds of a Feather
5-yard
is
penalty.
live. It is Tuesday night on A2DRadio.com, live from the Real Talk Studios. Chrome, Kevin, Pete, Chucks, Mr. Brodo on the ones and twos, throwing fake outs over here. He gave me a look and a head nod, like, go ahead. No, we don't need to be muted.
You've been muted.
But we are back. We are brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy. Our doctor, Dr. Paul Vidal. Find him in Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton, New Jersey. It ain't me. Find him on the web.
Somebody's making
SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com. No appointment necessary. Go see our doc, Dr. Paul Vidal. Our ATS Sports Picks, topic of conversation. It is – maybe it was me. I don't know. I don't know if it was me or not. I might have turned it up to see if there was static. I forgot to turn it back down.
Jesus.
Our topic of conversation brought to you by ATS Sports Picks. Use the promo code A2D, 20% off all first-time packages purchased. Get in there, get the big one, win some money on A2D. We love when the fam succeeds.
Big game this
All
Sunday.
our junkies out there.
Is there?
This is a big time to play some bets.
Yes.
So get on there. ATSSportsPick.com. When you type in the web address, there is no S at the end. ATSSportsPick.com. The Chiefs should be favored to win the Super Bowl. Agree, disagree. We're going to talk about that. We're going to get into the Super Bowl. We're going to lead off with the Super Bowl for the first half. But obviously Sunday, some events are bigger than us. They're kind of basic. I mean, they sweep over the nation of everything.
Yep.
You know, I mean, whether it's politics or regular news outlets and this and that. I mean, it's one of the biggest stories that I can remember of in the last 10 years at least. The very sudden and very tragic perishment of Kobe Bryant, his daughter, as well as 7 other people. We're going to talk about that. Obviously, we want to send our condolences out to all the victims affected in this and their families. But we are going to take time because this is a story that's bigger than any Super Bowl or anything being played. And we want to take the time to talk about Kobe Bryant, talk about his legacy. We'll talk about kind of our reactions when we heard, as well as, where's Kobe's legacy in sports and just in pop culture in general. We'll go through that. We'll dive into Kobe and kind of everything that he's left behind. Quite a message. So, I'm sporting. Ralph can't give me a hard time tonight. One time we're going to sport a Laker, number 8 jersey tonight for Kobe. Obviously, our boy Joel Embiid tonight is wearing number 24.
With the bad news brown glove. I just
Got the bad. I get the reference. They don't get the reference.
I don't know.
Obviously, Philly. Philly has its root, or Kobe has his roots here in Philadelphia, and I think it's a really awesome gesture too for some of the major sites in Philadelphia to light up purple.
Yeah, that was a classy touch.
Yeah, so we will talk Kobe Bryant, but as Kobe always said, everything moves on, right?
Yeah.
You always go in all in, and we're a football show. We're going to dive into the Super Bowl for you football junkies. Yeah. So, poll, conversation point, agree, disagree. Chiefs should be favored in the Super Bowl. I'm going to lead this off with Pete.
Yes, they should be favored in the Super Bowl. They have the best player right now, I think, in the game. And that's saying a lot. We've seen it the last 4 weeks. They haven't lost since the Tennessee game.
No.
And if you just go back and not so much look at the San Francisco as a whole, but look at their scheme on defense, he's seen this scheme numerous times, especially the last 2 years against L.A. because Gus Bradley, who runs the same Seattle cover 3 scheme. Now, don't get me wrong, the defensive line is a tad better, but that's not act like the L.A. Chargers don't have horses. You know what I mean? They have Melvin Ingram. They have Joey Bosa. The OG Bosa. Obviously, Nick is better, but still. With that being said, I just think that their speed is just going to be too much on offense. And they can't go man. If they go man, they're stupid. And they're going to try to take away Tyreek Hill. I mean, but they're going to run some deep crosses with Travis Kelce underneath, and then you may have Mecole Hardman on the post route. And Mahomes, as we've seen, can just make things happen. I think Damian Williams can have a decent game. So we'll see exactly where we're at as far as that's where I think we're at with the Chiefs offense versus the 49ers defense. And I just think I'm not a believer in Jimmy G yet.
Sorry. Instant reaction when I hear that.
Well, he's good. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, it's different where if they are able to somehow take away the run, because they do have Fletcher Cox Jr. on their team, and that's Chris Jones, who is in a free agent year, who wants to get paid on the grandest stage of them all. So if they are somehow able to stop the run, I'm not saying Jimmy G can't do it. I haven't seen you do it. Mm-hmm. So when I haven't seen you do it, when I seen Mahomes do it week in and week out, I'm just saying, prove me wrong. I'm not saying you're bad, but you don't have a nickname like my homie. I'm just
his nickname's GQ.
Yeah. Well, that has to do with looks. It has nothing to do with on field.
Well, it's a nickname.
GQ can stand for generally questionable.
I got a nickname too. So. Your name isn't actually Chucks. Every Joe Schmo can have a nickname. But what do you think, Kevin?
You got Mahomes, you got Kelsey, Chris Jones on the other side of the ball. Generally, if you're looking at it, the question as a whole, should they be favored? Yeah. How Reed being the elder and more experienced in the position, coaching wise, having a MVP caliber and already proven quarterback in Mahomes, there's no reason why they shouldn't be favored. Do I think they will win? No. That's not who I put my money on. I'm a firm believer that the 49ers can and will get the job done.
Okay.
But if I'm, looking at it as who should be favored and, who is the top dog, you can't go against, what's on paper as far as the Kansas City Chiefs offense and defensively coming out of a, 24-0 hole, against teams like the Texans and, proving that they can stop people if need be and allow their offense to catch up. Obviously, they are going to be the favorite, but again, I don't think they'll end up on top in this one.
So you think the Chiefs are okay? Well, you think San Francisco wins this game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to start off with Mr. I don't believe in Jimmy G yet. To anyone that says
this is the first.
To anyone that says Jimmy Garoppolo is a game manager or whatnot.
I did not say that.
Ready? No. I'm referring to a tweet. It says Jimmy Garoppolo is a game manager in quotes. 84 QBR in fourth quarter and game within one possession, which is the best in the NFL. 115.7 passer rating with team trailing, best in the NFL. 60% completion percentage on throws 15-plus yards downfield, best in the NFL. 154 passer rating outside pocket, best in recorded history. And I've said it numerous times over the past few weeks, when it comes time for crunch time, Jimmy GQ on third down, fourth down, late in games, no matter what the situation, has shown up. Just because he's not an elite quarterback or just because he is not asked to do as much as Mahomes doesn't mean he can't. Now, should the Niners be favored? Yes, they should be favored. Why? Because they've been a powerhouse all year long. No loss this season has been more than 3 points. None. Against any other competition, they have not lost by more than 3 points. I look at the teams, the matchups, the Chiefs. What are their weaknesses on defense?
Twice. Damn, twice.
What's their weakness on defense? They can't stop the run. What's the weakness on offense? They can't run the ball. All right? What's the weakness for the Niners? No real weakness on offense. They can run the ball as better than anyone else in the league.
Catch out the backfield.
And they can catch out of the backfield. They can pass when needed. They have the weapons in the passing game to beat a passing defense if they need to. On defense, stout running defense, and a deadly pass rush. So they can stop both elements of the pass game.
So Sherman has the most
you're telling me that the team that has not lost a game all year by more than 3 points and has been in every single game and steamrolled the Packers twice this year.
We steamrolled the Packers
twice this year. No, but not just once. They steamrolled the Packers Twice. Chris Long on Chris Long's podcast, he said
kind of
as a
pretenders
player,
this year.
he said on his podcast, no matter how good or bad a team is, it's tough to blow them out twice in a season. The Niners did that. One in the regular season, once in the playoffs. Okay? And they absolutely made the Vikings look like a pretender, even though the Vikings were a very good team. So, am I saying they should be heavy favorites? No, absolutely not. The Chiefs, if certain playmakers can come, like, I think Tyrann Mathieu is the X factor on defense for the Chiefs this game. Okay, he is the absolute X factor, because if he can be that fill-in person in the box, he has the speed and playmaking ability to make plays against that running attack. So he's the X factor. So and obviously the speed on offense by the Chiefs wide receivers, they unlike anything in any receiving core in the league. So the Chiefs and the Niners should be very evenly matched. But if I'm going to go one way or the other, it should be the Niners as the slight favorites in the Super Bowl. And cut the music.
Dude, you faked me out twice, by the way. Because I pulled my iPad out, and the music started, and sometimes my iPad starts playing music. Like, I somehow it, like, starts my iMusic. So when I did that was when you started the music, and my head was down. I don't know if you noticed. I was, like, trying to close things out, thinking that I did that. It's twice you Oh, no. That has nothing to do with the volume thing. The volume thing was just my own stupid fault. That, though, I'm saying when you started that music, that's why I looked at you. You faked me out for a second.
So it's on you.
I mean, I agree with the poll question. To me, I just think that, to me, the two best teams are in the Super Bowl right now. These are the two teams that I think are most deserving. But I just look at Kansas City, and the firepower to me is unbeatable. And to me, the best player is on the field is on the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yep.
And if there's ever a doubt or a question of where I'm going to put my chips behind, I'm going to go with where the best player on the field is. Yeah. It's pretty cut and dry for me. I mean, you guys said everything else.
In 2017, Pats Eagles, who was the best player on the field? Your quarterback, Tom Brady, right? Did you guys win?
No, unfortunately. But here's, I'm glad they actually brought
won.
that up.
It didn't say who do we think is going to win. It said who do we think should be favored.
Yeah.
And then you also said you're going to bet with them.
Also in there,
you also said
I would have if I was betting, I would have picked
Brady. They were favored.
No, you're saying this time. You said if I'm putting all my chips in, I'm going to go with the better.
If I'm betting, I would bet with Kansas City.
Okay.
Without question. If the year we were in the Super Bowl, I was betting, I would have bet on New England just because it's tough to go against them. I don't bet with my heart.
For me personally,
unlike some people over here.
I don't know,
bet with my heart.
I don't know if I can necessarily, at this point, if you want to compare quarterbacks, I don't know how much I could say that Mahomes is actually better.
What the fuck?
Listen.
Wait. Complete your sentence, please.
What?
Complete your sentence. Complete your sentence. Give him a second.
As an athlete, as an athlete, absolutely, he's the most athletic on the field, I think.
No, God, please,
with everything that he does, no look passes and all that kind of stuff.
We got a Stephen A here. You got Stephen A.
But if you think about it, when he was with the Patriots, any game that he had started, the two games he started, didn't lose. When he gets traded to San Francisco,
Mahomes
wins.
Or Jimmy G?
Jimmy G.
You said Mahomes.
I said Mahomes.
He doesn't think Mahomes is that much better than Jimmy G.
Okay, stop. I just got done defending Jimmy G, but to say that's kind of ridiculous. That's like Stephen A. Did you guys hear what Stephen A. said last week? He said that if Alex Smith was on,
I heard that. Right. He said the Chiefs would still be in the Super Bowl.
The Chiefs would still be in the Super Bowl.
I mean, if you look at what Jimmy G has done and is proven
in the regular season, I just want to put this in context. Is the reason why the Chiefs didn't go to the Super Bowl last year because of Pat Mahomes?
No, it's because of D Ford.
So I'm just everything that you
the first full season that Jimmy G has played as a starter.
Look
at the situation that they're in.
For one, when you suck for so long, We gotta look at this. We gotta look at this.
He hasn't sucked.
No,
he wasn't a starter.
I'm just saying. Let's look at this as context. When you suck for so long, you have a defensive line that you can have 4 picks in the top 5. That's exactly what they have. Okay? Then you have money because you have cap space because nobody wants to go play for a team that's 6-10. So now you have a little bit of money. You bring in a couple players.
4 and 12. 4 and 12.
4 and 12. Whatever. They sucked ass. So then, then you have some health that goes your way because you really don't have a lot of injuries and you are able to sustain. Jimmy Ward, Jaquesty Tart actually stayed healthy. Even when Jimmy Ward went down,
They had injuries.
they had injuries, but they had the depth. And shit just hit right, and Jimmy G was able to play. I get what both of you are saying. You were taking a little bit further than Chuck's.
I'm saying
a little bit. I would never go that far.
I didn't say Jimmy G was better. I just said that I don't think he's
you might
that
as
much.
well said.
I don't think he's that much better that people make him out to be.
Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the whole league right now.
Not even a question.
Not even a question. Jimmy G is like somewhere between 10 and 15. Let's not go.
I personally see him higher than that.
You see what?
I see him higher. I see him.
What, top 5?
Is Jimmy G
top 5?
No, I said 8.
Is Jimmy G better than Carson Wentz?
Oh my God!
Hold on.
He thinks Jimmy G is better than Carson Wentz.
I rest my case. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
If you ask me if I'm starting a team,
if Carson Wentz was on San Francisco right now, they win the Super Bowl. I'll put there.
If Carson Wentz was was on San Fran, they wouldn't be in the position they're at because he'd be hurt. If we're gonna be honest,
there's a low blow.
If we're gonna be honest,
there's a low blow.
We're gonna be honest.
Boo.
Listen, all I'm saying,
if they're both healthy, I would have a serious problem trying to decide which one I want. I'll put it that
Jimmy
way.
G at his best. I want to see him have a 2017 like Carson Wentz had.
He's still yet to have the chance. This is his first full season, and look where they're at.
Jimmy G.
All right. Wait. Wait.
Jimmy G.
Last year.
I thought I was like the big Jimmy G guy.
We're gonna get mad at he broke
Apparently
the bench.
not. Apparently I'm not.
We're gonna play a little game. We're gonna play a little game of yes or no.
Apparently I'm not the
here?
biggest
Listen.
Jimmy G guy here.
We're gonna play a little. We're gonna play a little game of yes or no.
One game he missed.
All right. We're gonna play a little game of yes or no. I pulled all of the starting quarterbacks in the league, and we're gonna say simply, and I want you to keep your own tally.
What
yes
has happened?
or no, of if you would rather have Jimmy GQ or this quarterback. Okay. If you would rather have Jimmy GQ, say yes.
I know the Patriots would rather have him. I'm sorry, I just have to throw that in there.
Here you go, Kev. You deserve this. You deserve that. I thought I was good.
I'll wear it.
All right. Kyler Murray.
No. God, no.
No, Murray. Kyler.
Matt Ryan.
No.
Wait, hold on. Are you talking about right? We're talking about right now, right? Not like build the future.
We seen what Matt Ryan did
Right now.
with the Kyle
What's the
Shanahan
right
offense.
now? Just like for one season.
Right now.
Yeah, Matt Ryan.
Josh Allen.
No.
Ooh.
Jimmy G.
And Kyle Shanahan's offense?
Jimmy G.
Jimmy G, I'll give you that one.
Jimmy G.
Are you keeping your tally?
Yeah, so far, no to everybody.
You
Give
would
me Jimmy
rather
G.
no.
You would
so-
have Josh Allen than
I'd rather have Jimmy G than Matt Ryan and Josh Allen
and-
so far.
And Kyler
Okay.
Murray.
And Kyler Murray.
Okay.
what
Who's
happened?
is Carolina and Cam? I guess.
I don't know how we got here.
I'll take anybody that's
Jimmy
in.
G.
I'll take Jimmy G
Yeah.
there.
Jimmy G.
Whoever is on Carolina.
Yeah, Jimmy G.
Mitchell Trubisky,
Jimmy G.
Oh, Jimmy G.
So I heard a little bit.
Andy Dalton,
Jimmy.
Jimmy G.
Baker Mayfield,
Jimmy.
Dak Prescott.
Jimmy.
Dak.
I'd rather have Dak.
Dak.
I love how
It
you're
hurts
going
to say-
Dak.
it hurts
You're
me to
so
say that,
committed,
but
you're
it's
in
just
it.
Dak.
He is so in his argument right now. I love it.
Dak is a better player.
On with his arm.
Dak is a better player. Any
On
Cowboys fan, I want you to remember me saying this. Dak is a better player than Jimmy G. If you ever think I'm being biased.
So Denver is what? Drew Lock?
Yeah.
Drew Lock.
That's
Jimmy
You
G.
shouldn't even
Jimmy
mention
G.
them. They don't
Jimmy G.
count.
I'm gonna name every one. Matthew
Jimmy G.
Stafford.
Right now, Jimmy.
Matt.
Stafford. A
Matt.
healthy
I
Stafford.
would go Jimmy GQ.
They're not Stafford fans.
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
Rodgers. Look, you see
Rodgers.
how your eyebrows just went up?
I had to think about it. Rodgers.
He's an
though.
alien.
Deshaun Watson.
I swear to God.
Deshaun.
I will leave this set.
I'll take Watson.
Come on.
I'll take
Come on,
Watson.
kid. Come on.
Jacoby Brissett.
Jimmy.
Oh, Jimmy.
Ooh.
No,
I put you
Jimmy.
in a conundrum.
Jimmy.
No.
Jimmy.
I didn't like Brissett when we had him.
Okay.
Take your.
Boy got hurt. Your other boy came in and played and you won.
I'm so dumbfounded that I'm not the biggest Jimmy G fan here.
He also
Holy
lost one.
crap.
He also lost
I brought
one
it
too.
out. I had to bring it to the surface.
You could take your pick. Gardner Minshew or Nick Foles.
I'll have either
Jimmy,
one.
Jimmy over
Either
one.
either Jacksonville quarterback.
over Jimmy G.
Over no. I'll take Jimmy G over either.
Oh yeah.
Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes.
Next, come on.
I didn't know where we were going on this side.
I know.
Phillip Rivers.
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Jared Goff.
Jimmy G.
Ryan Fitzmagic. I mean Patrick.
Jimmy G.
Ginger lover.
Jimmy G.
Is it for an entire season or one game? So if it's for one game,
For one game, you might go Fitzmagic.
If it's against the Patriots or Eagles, he might get the start. But
And
that's
we're-
about it.
And we're doing the whole season. I would take Jared Goff over Jimmy G.
No, absolutely not.
Because I'm thinking Kyle Shanahan's offense. You have to. That's the only.
No,
reason
yeah,
why-
I know, and
That's
I
the
put
only
Jimmy
reason
G.
he picked Matt Ryan
Jimmy
over
G.
Jimmy G.
You know, but they have similar skill sets. But Jimmy G has shown to be more clutch than Jared Goff.
Cousins. Kirk Cousins.
Jimmy G.
Jimmy.
Tom Brady.
Right now.
We're talking about right now.
Now-
Right
Right
now.
now.
Right now. Tom
Right
Brady.
now.
Right now. 1 year.
Right
Tom
now.
Brady.
Tom Brady.
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees.
Breeze.
Daniel Jones.
Jimmy G.
Daniel
Jones.
Sam Darnold.
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Derek Carr.
Jimmy.
Carson Wentz.
Carson. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
I don't know. I'll get back to you on that one.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Jimmy.
Russell Wilson.
Wilson.
Well, it's
I'd rather have Jimmy.
obvious. Then Big Ben.
Right
Right now?
Yeah.
Right
Big
now.
Ben.
I don't
Big
even
Ben.
know if Big Ben can stay on the field. I don't even know if Big Ben wants
Okay,
to keep
if
playing.
we're
doesn't.
factoring in injuries, fine. I'll go Jimmy. Let's call that a toss up. I'm gonna just Go ahead.
I'm gonna take Ben Garoppolo.
Big Benny G.
Cousin.
Big Benny G.
Russell Wilson.
Obviously.
Wilson.
Russ.
Jameis Winston.
Oh my
Come
God.
on.
Jimmy.
Yeah. 30-30.
Ryan Tannehill.
Jimmy.
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 very similar though. They're very similar.
Very similar.
I lost count. Shoot, I lost count.
Oh.
I lost count.
I've chosen against Jimmy Ward.
Lamar.
Huh?
Jimmy.
As much as I dislike
Say Jimmy.
Lamar, I would have to
It's
take
Lamar.
him.
I was trying to
I'm not a fan of
running
run-heavy
quarterbacks.
quarterbacks.
Yeah, no wonder why.
And Dwayne Haskins.
Jimmy G.
Yeah.
Roughly based on us, I think we agree
So-
most of the time. Roughly, Jimmy's around the 15-ish area.
Yeah.
He's in the middle of the road.
12 to
Middle
15.
of the road.
There are
So-
some names in there where it's like
So-
splitting hairs. So,
ba-
he's
ba-
around that
based
area.
on that list, I said 8. If I don't take him over Wentz, I have him at 8. If I take Wentz, he's at 9.
So he's a top 10.
So he's a top 10.
So this is my question. If you put Jimmy G in a non-Josh McDaniels offense and a non-Kyle Shanahan offense, how good is he?
I mean,
He's a good
he
quarterback.
didn't lose any games with the Patriots.
Put him on the Chiefs.
He's a good quarterback.
If he was on the Chiefs,
Playoff team.
with that coach, would they be in the Super Bowl today?
Playoff team, but not on the Super Bowl. That's my opinion. Playoff team, but not in the Super Bowl.
No, I don't think they'd be in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, if they played the same teams, like same exact road, I think they would be there.
No shot. He's not coming back from 24.
So ask you this
I'm
question.
saying playing the same teams. You didn't say same stipulations. They got to
You
come
put-
back from 24.
You put Pat Mahomes on the Packers, dude, to win the game. Can they beat the 49ers? You put Pat
Pat
Mahomes on.
Mahomes on the no. Because I
No.
think the Niners are that much better as a team. Than
They
the
also the Niners outside of them don't have the speed.
I know our comments have to be buzzing, man.
Tom chimes in. He says, "Yo, boys." Frank says, "Hey, yo, sorry to bother you at work." To the poll question, he agrees. Stephen White, we need to get Robbie Anderson. I'm seeing 11-11. Stephen White says, "N Ruggs." Greg Milakovic, my guys, what's up? I agree to the poll. AFC teams tend to be flashier and show better for Vegas. They don't take into account Andy's choke ability. Go Niners. Crumb. He says, P.S. I fully expect to change my opinion when I end up betting Kansas City this weekend. LOL. Stephen White says it's Andy's time. Eileen Pompey chimes in. Good evening, gentlemen. What's up, Eileen? She says, I can't stand Garoppolo. I hope they lose.
Oh, if I love
She says
Packers-
Wentz is by far better than that punk Garoppolo.
I would like to know why
What's-
she doesn't like him.
What's
Preach it, Eileen.
Little
Hey,
Patriots dissension here.
what's Jimmy G done to Eileen?
I don't know.
Get traded away because
That wasn't
the
his
owner
fault.
didn't. Yeah, the
No,
owner didn't.
it wasn't
want-
Kraft's fault either. That was
Eileen asked who
all
was screaming in the
Belichick.
back. That was
No,
Broder.
Belichick wanted.
That was
Oh,
Ryan.
sorry, you're right. It was Kraft.
It was Kraft
was
that
the other
wanted
way.
him gone
You're right.
because he didn't. He wanted to.
Stephen White says Wentz is way better. Watson, Rodgers, Dak. They were all kind of chiming in as we were going.
Oh, gotcha.
Malkovic says Jimmy G is the best quarterback in this game.
Who said that?
Greg,
Okay, he's just.
He's just trolling
He's
us.
just
I'm not taking you serious.
Bill
Greg.
says Jimmy G only ahead of 9 others, and he will throw 2 picks in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Greg says baby
Not if
goat.
he doesn't throw.
He got the goat blessing the other day. It's on like Donkey Kong. And Bill says Jimmy G is a little bit under 500. I did thought that was pretty cool that Brady texted him and told him to go and win.
Mm-hmm.
knowing that, but I can see Brady be like knowing that he doesn't have a chance to win.
My guess is he probably rubbed it in a little bit and said, hey, since you rode my coattails for 2 rings, time to get your own.
Oh.
In rhythm 3.
This is where we really get to start to see where the Patriots crumble when they're not in the playoffs, and he's salty about
He's
it.
so mad.
He's so salty
He's
about
so
it.
mad.
Yeah, cool, calm,
Like, you should be happy.
collected.
You should be happy that Mahomes took out the team that took you out. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, right?
See,
No.
I've never agreed with that logic. I feel better if
I'm the
I lose
opposite
to
way.
the team that won the Super Bowl.
That's
Because
what I would
Because
want.
it's like, oh,
at
yeah.
least I feel like that team was like destined to win or
Right.
whatever it is.
That's
like,
why I took the Titans to win.
Now, let me ask you this question.
That's why I always say to you, Ryan, 2011. At least you guys lost to the team that won
Yeah.
the World Series.
Hey, I lost to the best team.
Speaking of-
that's
right,
my outlook.
Exactly.
crummy fan bases now. We want to drag that up now.
I'd rather lose to the best
God.
team
God.
than
Here
lose
we
to
go.
a team. Like, imagine being – who did the Packers beat in week 1? Or they didn't beat anybody. They had a bye, right?
Week 1?
Not week
I
1, the
mean,
playoffs.
Yeah, they had a
They
bye.
had a bye.
So,
It was like week 1.
right. So imagine being a Seattle fan, right?
Uh-huh.
And then you see all that, and then you see the goose egg that the Green Bay dropped the next week, where they were completely overmatched and looked completely never in the game. I would be so pissed that my team lost to that team because of that. I would want my team.
That was the Patriots in the Denver-Seattle Super Bowl, where we went to the wire, and then they did nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
Well, no,
Well, that
I
Super Bowl got out of hand quick.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
that's one of
I
those
think
things.
Seattle, the only reason talent-wise they're nowhere near San Fran. The only reason why they would have even been in the game in the NFC Championship is because the familiarity.
Yeah, they're
That's
division rivals.
That's
Yeah.
the only reason why.
Were they
talent-
not? Were they not in the same division? The
No,
Niners would have
they
blown
would've-
them away.
They'd blown them out. So I want to ask you this question though. So, look, what adversity has the 49ers faced? I mean
What
not
adversity?
I'm talking playoffs. The road to Super Bowl for them has been dirt easy.
Okay.
They're
Right,
easy.
but they were battle tested all season long.
I already said it. They were battle
Regulars-
tested.
Okay.
Yeah, they went
You know what?
through
This
the
is what-
whole
this is what
month.
a dad does
The
with his
whole
kids
month
like
of
this.
December. The whole month of December, they were down to the wire last second games. They had their adversity.
You gotta
in
think that
December.
every regular season they played had to have been played like a playoff game. All the way through up to the end
Ravens, yeah.
was played to the point where if we don't win this game, we might not make the playoffs because Seattle will take
the number one seed,
number one
and
seed,
they'll be a wild
and,
card.
and right, get pushed right out the playoffs like that.
They've been in playoff mode since December.
Right, which I still think if they go that extra yard and Seattle does win that game, yes, they probably beat the Eagles here wild card weekend. But I still think their talent takes them over, and they still end up in the NFC Championship game. And it may not be in Seattle. They may have played Green Bay at that point, or they may have played New Orleans.
Wait, say that again. I didn't
Well, I
follow.
think if Seattle beat them in Week 17, I still think they beat us in the wild card round because they would have been the 5th seed, San Francisco.
Okay, yeah.
I still think
believe
they would
that
have ended
too.
the NFC Championship. I think they're still talented enough to have been in this position. I would have more faith in them going into this game if they went that route.
But that's not. I don't think that's fair.
I'm just
because they earned that home field advantage.
Right.
Like because of the tough road they had. Like the first. I said this before. I'm gonna say it again. First half of their schedule was easy. They were blowing out teams they're
Yeah.
supposed to blow out. Second half of their schedule
tough.
was one of the toughest in the whole league. Like they were playing back-to-back games against teams that were phenomenal.
Saints game.
Look at they 1 week they went to Baltimore,
Right.
lost by a last-second field goal, and then went to New Orleans, a place where you're not supposed to win, and won on last-second field goal. Like they've been battle tested, and Arizona, the division rivals, took them to the limit each of the games. So did Seattle. So they're already in like games where they're really it's crunch time. They're digging down deep where they have to come up and play big in big moments, and they have. So I don't think that's fair. Like saying that you would have gotten more.
It's
respect.
it's not about fair. I'm just comparing it to what Kansas City has had to go through in the playoffs, being down. Yeah, they put themselves in that position, but have to come back like that. I just think there's two big things. For one, I think Pat Mahomes is we all agree, he's a more seasoned quarterback than Jimmy G.
Obviously.
In bigger games.
Obviously.
And I think that Andy Reid is a more seasoned head coach.
Say there's no chance in the world that the Niners have nearly as good of an offense as the Chiefs.
Talent-wise,
How?
Debo Samuel.
Okay.
If he
Stud.
was-
Stud rookie.
Okay, we got Tyreek Hill.
Emmanuel Sanders.
He's
George Kittle, best
good
tight
route-
end in the game. Could be the best non-quarterback
He's the best
in the game.
complete tight end in the game. Travis Kelce, to me,
Nah.
still a
George
Matt.
Kittle. George Kittle, best
That's
tight end in the
that's a
game.
wash.
I mean,
No,
I'll be
best
honest.
tight end in the
I'm
game.
watching both of
That's
those.
a wash.
so.
Okay, but it's not like
So Debo Samuel, if he was on Kansas City, what depth chart receiver would he be? 2?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying he's still good.
3,
He'd still be
2, 3.
So
I'd say two.
Two.
I'd say
but
two.
the way you reacted was
I'd
like
say two.
you act like you was flabbergasted at the fact that I said that San Francisco offense is nowhere near as talented as KC's. Am I? Did I read the room wrong?
Look at the offensive line. Okay,
got it
we're
right.
talking
I'm
about
with you.
is
That's how I read
offensive
it.
line is offensive line
I'm
part
talking
of
about
offense?
no, I get it. But once again, I'm talking. So if Kansas City knows what's coming and they can read Kyle Shanahan's scheme, what you're telling me is there's
A lot. That's easier said than done, bro.
It is.
That's easier
But
said
what,
than done, boy.
what did I base my comment? I said I didn't say
Right.
I said talent. I didn't say scheme.
Yep.
It's scheme versus talent. So if Shanahan can out scheme them, that's the only way they're going to win. If Spagnuolo figures out somehow what they can do on defense, and we seen it with a Shanahan offense, you hit the bitch one time and you get a strip sack, all the house of cards comes down. Right? Am I right or wrong? We saw that in 2017.
Okay, I just feel like you're underselling the Niners' offense in terms of talent. You're talking about skill.
I don't-
You change your
it's not-
you change
I'm
your
not
argument.
underselling.
Hold on.
It's not-
Hold on.
it's not
You
under-
change your
it's not
argument. You
underselling,
changed your
though.
argument. You said they have the most talented offense, but then you said, oh no, I meant skill positions. I'm including that offensive line as
No, the
talent.
offensive line studs.
So that's 5 people you're talking about on the Niners offensive line
Right.
that are all very good offensive linemen that you're not taking into account in your whole thing. If you're going to mean just skill positions, sure, then I give that to you.
So
but you said
as
offense.
a whole. So
As a whole
offensive. So
offense.
San Francisco's offensive line better than Kansas City offensive line. Okay.
Yes.
Tight end is a wash. Skill position when it comes to wide receivers, Kansas City has the edge.
Absolutely.
Now, when I look at these running backs, listen, I'm just going to call a spade a spade. These running backs are busting ass because of the fucking scheme. They're not. It's not because of their talent. They have a lane that me, you, and Cat.
I will say none of the Niners running backs are superstars, but they're all good running backs.
Right.
They're all just good running backs. I think they are all more talented than anyone on the Chiefs. Any running back on the Chiefs roster. I think all 3 of them are better than Damian Williams.
So if you put
All 3 of
so
them.
I look at that. If you put Daniel Williams in Shanahan's offense, how
He would be the 4th running back. Matt Breida, better. Even though he's not getting any more touches. Matt Breida, better. Raheem Mostert has become better than Damian Williams. More.
is Tevin Coleman going to play?
I think he said he's nursing Tevin Coleman. You guys known since you too, Brodo. We wanted Tevin Coleman in Philly. I thought
did.
Tevin Coleman is a good running back.
And then
So
Miles
I think
Sanders
all
got
three
here.
of them. All 3 of them are better than
Okay, so
than David Williams.
you get the edge slightly
Slightly to the Niners. Yeah.
and then we have the big one. We talk about the quarterback, which makes
Mahomes.
all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
So when we look at if we were to notch this thing, how many notches is the Kansas City offensive line by a better? San Francisco offensive line better than Kansas City. How many notches would you say? 1, 2, 3?
What do you mean by I think
This
they're-
levels.
I think the Niners offensive line on a scale of 1 to 10. If I'm going to rate them, they're like an 8.5.
And where would you put Kansas City?
Like maybe like a 6 or 7.
Okay. So when we look at skill positions as far as wide receivers, would you put the group of Kansas City if you get them?
Kansas City has got like maybe like a 9.5.
And where would you put San Fran?
8.
That's to me that's generous. That's generous.
I think that Deebo Samuel is a star in the making, and I think that Emmanuel Sanders is still as talented as
he
well.
is.
Yeah.
He
so
is.
I think, hey, okay, fine. I'll notch it down to 7.5.
Okay, so
Sure.
then if we add that up, then we're even. And we already said Travis Kelce and Kittle is a wash.
Yeah, and then you go to the running backs.
Go to running backs. So,
I'd say Niners are about overall 7.
and where's Kansas City?
I think they're like a 5.5.
Okay, so all right, it's a 1.5 difference, right?
Yeah.
All right, Jimmy Garoppolo versus Pat Mahomes.
Jimmy
How many-
G's like a 6. Mahomes is what, like a 9.5?
I rest my case.
Yeah, but you're talking about you said all offense.
But we just did it. We just did. Did we not just do it?
Yeah.
And Kansas City came out top, but by a narrow margin.
But you're also not weighing in. But you're also not like you can't just go brick for a brick because
It was talent for talent.
Yeah, but there's positions where like the offensive line is more heavily weighted than a wide receiver or a tight end. You have to put
True.
more weight on an offensive
But
line.
where do we put the most weight?
Now hold
The
on.
quarterback
I get the
position.
quarterback.
And who is exceedingly better than everybody on the field? The quarterback.
But what does a quarterback do without an offensive line?
Oh,
As a
exactly.
whole?
He doesn't have an offensive
Oh,
line.
yeah,
He has
okay.
an offensive line that was good
You
enough to
said
get him to the
your
Super Bowl.
Your argument, Pete, was that the Niners.
if you don't have an
the
offensive
Chiefs-
line, I don't
that the
care who you
Chiefs
are, you don't get to the Super
Miles,
Bowl.
there's no chance that the
It was just my
Niners are better
perspective.
than the
That's so
Chiefs.
much an argument. It was
I
just
think
my
it's
point of
pretty
view.
even. I think it's pretty even.
Okay.
I think it's disrespectful to say there's no chance that the
I'm not saying
Niners-
that. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners
But
won.
why is it disrespectful for somebody to say, I think Kansas City is a level above? He never sat there and shit on San Francisco.
Right.
He went position by position and said, a couple notches above. Wash here. You're right. Offensive line is better here. He never said they are a 10 and San Francisco's a 6
Right.
and they shouldn't be
It
there.
sounded like he did.
That didn't
It
sound like
sounded
he said that
did.
at all.
It sounded like he did.
Then you're hearing what
It
you want to
sounded
hear
like-
because it never sounded like that at all.
Then that's my bad. But it sounded like to me originally. It sounded like there's no. When he said, "Oh, there's no chance,"
He's making
that the
his
Niners,
counter-argument
There's
as
no
to-
chance.
as to
when you
why
say
he thinks
when
San
you say
Francisco's
there's no
better.
chance,
Right.
then I think like okay, then you're disrespecting. If you're saying that, I think they're slightly better. That's saying okay. I would give
Well,
the edge.
the
to
line
Jimmy.
speaks to that. The Vegas thinks that they're slightly better by what is it, a point now?
Something like that.
It's a point, and even
It's like it's like
even
marginal.
even grading out
And
everything.
that's what I said. Like it's like no matter what. To me, they're so evenly matched.
Right.
It's like a slight favor one way or the other. It's perfectly fine. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
That's absolutely
Now-
how it should be.
And
now-
that's why I bring it back to where is the difference on the
Right,
field.
the
When I
difference
look at the one to me that is a glare. No, and this is not a disrespect to Jimmy GQ.
Right.
But I look at a
Tell
guy.
him- tell him that
I look at a
you said
guy.
Jimmy G.
I look at a guy who's at best 10. You said 9, 10. Or
Yeah.
on this couch is at best the 9th best quarterback in the league, and to who pretty much unanimously is
the
the
best
number
one
one quarterback
quarterback.
in the league. That to me is what massively sways it to where, to me, Kansas City absolutely is the favorite.
Right.
I mean, me and Kev are just kind of sitting back and taking it all in, and we're going with your comparisons. But I waited for you to get the quarterback because that's you asked the question. Where's the big difference on the field? It's the quarterback position.
That's the most heavily
That's
weighted
where
position.
it's so to me.
That's the biggest gap, and that's the biggest position.
Like
And-
even at like if I'm going by kind of the comparisons you guys are putting, if I'm going at your gap of I said like 8.5 San Francisco offensive line to 6 or 7, I'm looking at the quarterback position. If we're on the same scale, then I'm looking at 10 to 6 7.
Here's
at best.
and I get it.
That's a huge
And
difference.
I get that argument, but here is where I think that it's kind of skewed in a different way. Is because the Niners' offense doesn't run through a quarterback. Therefore, the
Which is-
value.
that's
Wait, hold
my
on.
Go ahead.
Therefore, the value of a hold on. Therefore, the value of a quarterback, in terms of what the Niners do,
Right.
isn't as high as the value of a quarterback. So if you're comparing how each team values and their positions, the offensive line and running back are more important to what the Niners do than
100%.
the
But-
quarterback.
Okay.
So if you're weighting them,
I really want to hear what Kevin has to say.
The
He's
Chiefs.
been really trying to talk for like 20 minutes and hasn't said a word. we know where you're going.
Isn't he
with
on
this.
timeout? I think he should be on timeout.
And I actually think he might be going similar to where you're going. So I would like for him to make the point, and then if not, then you can correct or situate it. But I want him to
Situate.
say here.
To both your points, I understand your grading system. If you're going off of just talent on paper, if we're to run a combine, yes, you're right in where you're putting them.
Right.
But my issue is where you put them at. I personally think that Damian Williams is a little bit better than the credit you give him as far as well-roundedness. If I'm a team that has one running back and you have to do a little bit of everything, sure, that's the guy I want. But when I have a three-headed monster with Mozart, Breida, and Coleman, where everybody does something a little bit different as far as catching out of the backfield, I put that at a 10. If you give me 3 guys that I could rotate and not wear throughout a game, and I could spread 40, 50 touches across 3 guys, to me, that's a 10.
Right.
If you have a quarterback that can throw blind, throw off his back foot, not look skill, sure, that's a 10. But if you tell me, hey, you only have to throw 7 times and you don't have to worry about running outside of a pocket because everything is short games, that's a 10. If you don't have to be –
You can execute.
So
yeah.
I get what you're saying. So, but I want to bring it all back home. Everything you both just said, and I'm just saying, you said you have a 3-headed monster that could do all this, right? You just sat there and said you can't weigh the quarterback position that heavy because what San Francisco asked the quarterback to do isn't what Kansas City asked Pat Mahomes to do.
Mm-hmm.
I base my whole conversation off of what? Talent. Not once did I mention scheme. Both of you just reverted back to scheme.
But hold on.
Am I right or am I wrong?
But
I
hold
did
on.
agree with you
But
as far as
yeah.
ranking them as far as skill goes.
But so take that we go back. So once again, it's scheme heavy versus talent. At some point during this game on Sunday, you got to take scheme out of it. A man's going to have to be the man. And when a man has to be the man,
I
But
get
it's
what you're
how,
saying.
though.
I
How do
get
you
what you're
gotta
saying.
beat him?
I get what you're saying. But in the NFL,
Scheme will never not
in the
beat him.
in the NFL, talent is only perspective to what you're asked to do. Like
Right.
depending
So
on what
that's-
the team.
that's why I say with
you're-
Jimmy.
You can't to me what you're saying one player on this team that is asked to do one thing compared to another guy that's asked to do something else. It's like they can be even but still do different things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So what I'm bringing it all in now. what I'm taking out of this is like kind of what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're throwing down, and I would agree that if we're looking at talent, it's Kansas City.
Right.
To me, for San Francisco to win this game, their scheme has to be perfect.
Yes.
Because if it comes down to the talent and there's a breakdown in the scheme or Kansas City figures it out, that talent is going to overtake them on the field.
Yes.
And I think it's very hard in today's NFL, particularly in the Super Bowl,
yes,
when you have the two best teams
in 2 weeks
and 2 weeks to plan for everything to go right in your scheme. I'm not saying San Francisco can't or won't win, but if I'm, again, going back to I'm betting on
pennies.
If I'm placing a bet, I'm betting on the talent on the field.
Right.
And where I feel like if Kansas City's scheme, whatever scheme they come out with doesn't work, there's enough talent on the field to overcome.
Exactly.
Particularly
I
at the quarterback
Yeah.
position, because then if that's it, and listen, both schemes could take a dump.
Yeah.
And now we're looking at just guys having to make plays. There's one guy on that field I feel like can come out and make those plays, and it's Pat Mahomes.
And it's Tyreek Hill's he's a scheme buster.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that it's – see, I can't say that because there have been multiple Super Bowls where the better coached team has won the game. So I don't believe in that. and a great I mean, we're laughing, but he's right.
No, he's all six.
And a great coach will be able to adjust and make the necessary adjustments.
There's no way y'all
scheme.
should beat the Falcons.
So no way.
There's no way Aaron Rodgers should only have one ring if we're going off of talent.
There's no way Drew. I love when people do that. They always go to Rodgers. There's one motherfucker in New Orleans that has one goddamn ring.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, but it's
To me,
guys like
I'll say it to this day, he's fucking overrated. That's just me.
Who?
Breeze.
Breeze?
Yo, bro,
overrated?
I've been saying it and I get crucified
Yes.
for years.
So listen,
because
For years I got
Sean
crucified.
Payton is a bad man,
For
and he
years I
doesn't
got
get the credit he
crucified for that.
deserves.
All right, so I got to keep the conversation flowing. Hosts got to do host things, okay? We got less than 10 minutes left before we go to the second half.
That flew by.
And I want to make sure that
good breakdown.
we want to make sure that we get in
We
score
break it
predictions.
down.
We want to make sure that we get in MVP predictions.
Okay.
And obviously we want to talk shady real quick before we go to the break, and then we get to Kobe
Nah,
on the other
F
end.
'em.
So, it's a simple question.
Try
but-
go. If he wins, he wins.
So all right. So let's go score predictions. We'll go down the couch or the chairs. We're going to start with Chuck's over
Score
here.
predictions. I'm actually going to. I'm going to give. It's kind of a tribute to Kobe. I'm going to say 28-24 Niners. The 24 obviously his number, but then the 8 and the 28.
I was waiting after all that for you to pick Kansas City, and I was going to be like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Can you imagine?
I was waiting. I was like looking at Broda.
No,
I'm like,
are you
watch him. He's going to
kidding?
flip this whole thing and pick Kansas
No,
City.
why would I do
was
that?
waiting
I've been
for it.
saying Niners all year.
Okay.
All right, so for me, since we're going the traditional way, another key matchup. Your defensive coordinator has won 2 Super Bowls, and you know him very, very well because you have not beaten him in the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
So, and we got to look at this. Kyle Shanahan, yes, he's been in the Super Bowl. He was an offensive coordinator. We don't know what Rob Sala's going to do, and he hasn't seen a team. It's bad when you see a team like this for the first time in the biggest game of the year. I don't care how many weeks you had to prepare. That field is fast.
Yeah.
When you have Kansas City who's seen this scheme a little bit, and we all know about the Seattle cover 3 scheme, it could be predictable. There's not a lot of variation to it. So I'm going Kansas City. I'm not gonna lean back from it. I'm going Kansas City. I'm gonna say we see them put up 35 points very, very easy. And we see New Orleans and San Francisco getting a shootout. So I'm gonna go Kansas City 42, San Fran 31.
Ooh, okay. Kevin?
You first. I gotta do some research real quick.
Did you see me look at my phone one time?
My phone's right there.
I need to
My
know.
phone's right there. I read off a tweet, and that was it.
Hey, if I'm going off a score, regardless, fine, I'll go. I initially had the 49ers, the same score, 28-24. I think it might actually go a little bit higher scoring, closer to the Saints score. So I was going to look up to see what that was.
It was like 48-44, 48-41.
It may not be that high. Maybe something closer to.
I'll look it up for you. Go ahead. I'll find it. I'll research it.
No,
I can wear different hats.
No, you know what?
32-27, maybe a little bit closer to that.
I want to change my score. I'm going to go 41-33.
No, that's you can't do that for another Super Bowl. Jesus.
Go ahead.
No,
48-46.
No, it won't be that high.
Jesus, that was a high score. Okay.
That's what
I'm
happens
going
when you have two.
31-27. Still Niners.
Okay.
Again, I mean, for me, I'm backing the best player on the field. I'm going Kansas City. I'm going to do the same, but Kobe dedication, but I'm going to call 33-24.
Oh, nice one. Nice one.
So I'm going to go
I like that.
33-24 Kansas City.
I
Lower
like
Mary in L.A.
I like that.
Who's our MVP? Pat Mahomes.
Mahomes. I think it very easy could be Tyreek Hill though if he has like 160 and 2 touchdowns.
And a punt, like a punt return or something.
Well, he doesn't. That's McCole Hardman.
Oh yeah, he took his spot.
But McCole Hardman can easily go.
Yeah.
He can easily go 162 touchdowns. That's the problem. You could try to take away Hill and Kelsey. If you line up Hardman and Watkins on the same side of the damn field, there's nothing you need. And we've seen Mahomes doesn't need but like that to throw it 50 yards.
We've said we've said this about high-powered offenses before, and I need to painfully remind myself and everyone about Broncos versus Seahawks and what happened because everyone was saying no one. Wait. Everyone was saying
that's true.
No one will be able to stop this high-powered offense, even this good defense. And look how that turned out.
But
it doesn't always play out that way. I'm not
right.
saying it's going to play out that way. I'm just saying.
But it's two different styles of offenses, though.
Yeah, no. All I'm saying is let's not assume that a high-powered offense can't be stopped.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just
saying.
looking at not so much from a scheme point. The Broncos or Seahawks, the Broncos didn't have anywhere near the speed that Kansas City has.
I don't think anyone has.
That's the key. Just the speed itself. And when I mean that's just me. I could be dead wrong. I could come here. I'll eat crow on Tuesday if San Fran.
I will say everyone, and even myself. I just said it. Everyone falls in love with Kansas City's speed, a wide receiver, and Damian Williams is fast as frick also. But let's also not forget the speed that the Niners have. They have speed. All three of the running backs are fast also. And their offensive linemen. Right. And Kittle may be the fastest tight end in the game.
Yeah.
And then their Juszczyk is fast. Like there's a reason why their schemes work so well because they have speed in that run game.
MVP. We got to get to the MVPs.
Breida. Outside the box.
Jimmy G.
Of course.
Well, I was gonna go. I was gonna go Kittle, but if a receiver has such a big game, usually they revert it back to the
Deion Branch. I'll rest my case.
Deion Branch.
Yeah.
Deion Branch.
Before we go to break, real quick, it's only like a 2-second question. The story came out, not that he's retiring this year, but when he retires, Shady said he plans to retire as a Philadelphia Eagle. Do you believe that is a warranted thing for Shady?
Yes.
Chucks?
I'm biased, so you can skip me, but I could care less if he doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't care. He's a POS. I mean,
Thank you.
He holds your rushing leader record until I would just say wait until Miles Sanders breaks it. There you go.
I mean, I don't think so. I don't think he was here long enough or not with another organization long enough. Because, I mean, you figure three different teams now, 4 different teams. He advanced round 2.
Yeah.
So, to
drafted
me,
in 2009, left after 2000.
He was here 5, 6 years.
Yeah, his prime is
6 years.
Prime of his career was here.
Yeah.
7 seasons, I'm sorry.
He is the franchise leader in rushing yards. So
7 seasons.
Was he here 08 or 09?
09.
Okay.
I'm 100% sure.
To me, if he was only at one other team, if he had retired at the beginning at the Bills or whatever it was, I would say maybe. But after now almost making yourself a journeyman, if they don't go back to Kansas City, if you're somewhere else for another year, to me it kind of waters down the effects.
But that's good. But I mean, Shady isn't nowhere near to this level, but AP was kind of the same thing.
Right, and I mean to me, like I don't think people think of Shady McCoy and say, "Oh man, that time he was in Kansas City." Yeah. I don't think people are ever going to go back and look at that.
Yeah, and let's also say this:
his legacy.
It wasn't his fault that he left here. We can't fault him for what Chip Kelly did.
He got moved from here.
Yeah, I mean and Chip was Chip. You know what I mean? So I mean, it wasn't, and he was still kind of in his prime then because his first 2 years at Buffalo,
he was a beast.
He was a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with
that.
I
think 2 years ago. I think even up until 2 years ago, he was still running really, really well.
Yeah. Last season
was when he fell off.
He hit the wall and fell off.
Yeah.
I will say this,
which people still deny.
Before we go to break, Kansas City did. It's a different run defense, but you see what they did with Derrick Henry at a certain point. So I'm just saying, we all know Green Bay can't run the ball really effectively. Just going back to the preparedness part.
Green Bay can't run, and Green Bay can't stop the run.
I'm just talking about the preparedness.
They have one play, the Hail Mary. Like, you can't do that all game long.
If you guys are over on the Facebook, jump over to the YouTube. Continue the conversation, right? Or are we staying on Facebook? Oh, okay. So I'm confused. We're learning.
So Facebook is running right where we
so we're good. Well, I know Tom said he's going with the best quarterback on the field. Easy money. Pat Mahomes. With that, guys, we're going to take a break. Second half, we're going to come back. We can continue to talk about this, but we're going to go into we're going to talk about Kobe Bryant. We're going to talk about his legacy and kind of everything that happened, our reactions. So, again, first half brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy and as well as ATS Sports Picks. On the other side, we'll be back in a few minutes.
He's done going around again.
I was waiting for the point.
Oh, you're waiting. This time you want to make sure.
This time I was waiting to make sure I got the point.
Gorilla sent you out a little bit too early.
No more D-Ford. No more D-Fording it.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to Birds of a Feather Live on a2dradio.com. Brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy. You can find them in Burlington, Cherry Hill, Princeton, New Jersey. SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com. Go see the doctor. No appointments necessary. Dr. Paul Vidal. Our topic of conversation was the Chiefs should be favored to win the Super Bowl. That's brought to you by ATS Sports Picks. Promo code A2D gets you 20% off first-time purchases on packages. This is a good weekend to do it. Super Bowl going on. Get on there. Win some money on A2D. We love to see the fam flourish. ATSSportsPick.com.
Emphasis on pick singular.
No S.
No S.
But yeah, first half we really dove into a lot of Super Bowl stuff. Had these two going at it. Me and Kev just sat here and sat with our thumbs up our asses for a while. But now we're ready to roll.
So, quick question. I want you to look me straight in my face. And you tell me that Jimmy G is as close to Patrick Mahomes as you believe in your mind. You really, truly believe that?
I really believe that.
No, you looked away.
I didn't look away.
He did look away.
You looked away.
He looked away, and when he said, "I do believe it,"
closer.
even when he looked back, he closed
closer.
the eyes for a
Go
little.
nose to nose.
He did an extra
Go
long
nose to
blink.
nose. Do
I
not
believe.
blink.
He went. I really do believe that.
I'll take it one step further.
Oh, my God.
Not only do I believe.
Get ready. Clip this.
Not-
Timestamp this.
Not only do I believe that they are close, I think as a career-wise,
Oh, no.
Jimmy G
No,
will
don't
ultimately
do
be
this.
better.
What? Oh my God! I can't. I'm done. Chucks, don't take the cords out, please.
Oh.
I don't
Just
think
when
the
I
way
thought it couldn't
Mahomes
get any
runs
better.
around will, outlast what Jimmy G may be able to do.
The hate is real.
No, but I can't call it. It's hate from our perspective. It's love from his, though.
I don't feel it. I don't feel that love. Not even close. But hey, I love you.
I just had to verify that you took it even a step further. So appreciate that.
Yeah, he made it worse for himself.
Now are you
I don't think it's worse.
now are you wearing the glasses during the games when you're watching, or
I'll wear whatever helps me see the Niners score over Mahomes and your buddies.
Oh my God!
God.
I hope you two are watching.
So
the
I
game
want you to
together.
be like this next year if the 49ers play the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
First
Well,
off,
next
It
year
won't
the
matter
Niners,
though, because Tom's not going to be
Yeah.
the quarterback.
next year the Niners will be there.
Oh, so
I
you're a
can't
Brady
say the
fan,
same.
not a Patriots fan. Is that what
No,
you're
I'm a
saying?
Patriots
No,
fan.
no, no. I'm just saying Tom Brady's not going to be the quarterback of the New England next year.
Yeah.
Kevin watching Jimmy G.
No, I think that
One more
I think
time.
regardless if Brady's back next year, I don't think that we'll get to the Super Bowl. Playoffs, yes.
You think the dynasty's on its way down now? Finally.
Yeah. I think the Ravens have another strong year. I think that
Miami's on the rise. Another year behind Fitzmagic.
they'll still win the division. The
Brady,
Patriots
what
will
if
still
Brady
win the
went to
division.
Miami?
Oh, I said that already.
Oh, you did? I'm sorry.
No,
threw out
a couple
everything.
weeks ago I said that. What if Brady goes to Miami
Because they got Chad O'Shea.
and says, "Listen, I
And
can't
Flores.
beat him, so I'm going to
I
join
can't wait
him."
for him to go to Dallas. That's what I want. I want you to
There's
deal with
nothing
that.
there.
Ain't never happened.
There's
try.
nothing there.
It's never.
We talking about he has a supermodel wife. What is she going to do in Dallas when she got Miami right there?
He's gonna go.
Hey, I trust you.
She's
He don't,
already
he
dealing
don't
with
want
the
Jared nowhere around her.
Jerry be like you over there.
Dean
See
Blandino on the bus.
Jerry starts showing up to the freaking skybox, the club box, in like a robe, with Giselle sitting next to
Oh,
him
God.
with a pipe hanging out of his
Have
mouth.
a robe?
Yeah,
with
he's
with
got the
double
robe.
J on him. And Rhinestone.
Got a pipe hanging out of his mouth.
And a 5-gallon cowboy hat. Some cowboy booze.
I don't think.
God.
No.
Keep her away. Keep her away, Tom. Don't do it to yourself.
Oh, my God.
Keep her away and keep Antonio out of your house.
Oh, my God. The ugliest. I didn't know there's so many shades of green you could put in a fucking suit.
Better start putting a bubble around Giselle at this point.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Jesus. But all right, I digress. I'm sorry.
All right,
I just had to get confirmation.
Digressing.
Yes, Eileen, this is the second half. So we are going to we went off the rails. So we are going to transition now.
Yep.
We are going to transition into, obviously, again, one of the biggest sports stories or just general news stories over the last 10, 15 years. And that was the sudden passing of Kobe Bryant, his daughter, Gigi, and seven other folks who passed away early Sunday morning in a helicopter accident. It's a huge story. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I mean it's taken over everything from obviously ESPN and NBA TV and all these different things, and you can even scale it out wider. You know, CNN, Fox News, whatever you watch. Yeah. In terms of news, MSNBC was on everything. So we're going to get into Kobe's legacy, but let's talk about Sunday because it is I equate this.
Yeah, you had a very good analogy. If you're going where I think you're going.
I always look at things generationally, right?
Yeah.
I feel like things happen to generations. You know, like in our grandparents' time, or if your parents are old enough, you know, you look at like Pearl Harbor, and then you had like 9/11, like those kind of things. To me, that's like our generation's Pearl Harbor.
Like you remember where you're at on that day.
You always remember where you were,
what you were doing.
You can always, you know, most people when you talk about 9/11 can give you detailed where they were, who they were around, when they heard about it, how they felt, like very vividly detailed. Mm-hmm. And I look at this in terms of like a sports thing, and I'll even take it a step further too because I talked to Chucks about this on the way over. You know, I equate this to like our generation's Roberto Clemente, who, you know, Roberto Clemente was still an active player, but Kobe's only 2 years removed.
Yeah.
When you talk about one of the greatest of the game, of their sport, taken away too soon, very suddenly. And then you can even take it a couple of steps further in terms of, you know, Roberto Clemente died in an airplane crash, not a helicopter, but similar. And he was helping people by taking supplies to his home country after they had, you know, issues going on. He was bringing, like, food and supplies to the country and aid. Kobe, obviously, you know, in terms of that, he wasn't doing that, but he was taking his daughter and other kids to a basketball game where he's coaching kids, molding minds, you know, kind of teaching them life lessons and sports lessons. You know, he was being an influential figure in that sense. But the irony that I thought about, too, on the way over, you know, you talk about crazy things. You know, the night before, the irony of, you know, his father played for the Sixers. He grew up a Philadelphia guy in terms of his United States home. Obviously, we know he spent time in Italy as a kid, too. But, you know, the last Laker game, at least, he may have watched a late game that night. Who knows? But the last Laker game he saw was the Lakers and the Sixers. He watched his scoring record be surpassed by LeBron James, who was the face of the franchise and one of the greatest of all time. Tweeted out about it, which was something else we'll discuss. But you talk about, like, the irony of all of that happening, and then he's gone.
Yeah.
Even going back to Roberto Clemente, who just hit his 3,000th hit.
Yeah.
Hit exactly 3,000 hits, which is a huge benchmark in baseball.
Yep.
Not many players have hit 3,000 hits in their career.
Yeah.
He, at exactly 3,000 hits, passed away in a plane crash. Another kind of a sports benchmark.
Yeah.
And, like, I even took it a step further with Chuck's. Like, it's just sometimes these weird things happen. Like, we're wrestling guys, right? You talk about Ultimate Warrior being away for all those years, right? He comes back after being gone and being kind of, for all intents and purposes, like almost banished from the company or blackballed. Yeah. He comes back, goes into the Hall of Fame. You watch
Weekend was fun.
You watch those videos of like him and Hogan reconciling 2 days before his passing away.
Yeah.
He comes out on Raw, and less than 12 hours later, he dies from a heart attack.
Yeah.
Like, it's just these crazy things that happen.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there's a lot of things in sports. Like, you can go back and just be like, the timing of it is impeccable. It's insane. But kind of just reeling it back, like, I want to know where you guys were when you heard about Kobe's passing, kind of to gauge the room and the situation of, you know, kind of what your initial thoughts and stuff were. Open floor, whoever wants to speak first.
Yeah, so I saw it kind of early on. Had no other plans, nothing going on. Playing on my phone, and I saw on Facebook the TMZ report, and I was like, this ain't real. Like, I related it back to the game the night before, because I had just been on the air Saturday saying how the Sixers won't lose. Doesn't matter if LeBron's on the other side, whatever it might have been. Talking about it, and openly, I'm not a huge basketball guy. Mm-hmm. I don't follow that great, but I do know. Obviously, I know Kobe. I know what he's done for the sport and what he means. And then to fast forward the next day, and I see that, I was like, wait a minute, this is not real. Like this, Yeah. But then I thought about it. I was like, it did come from a more reputable source. It did seem real, and I kind of just sat there. I stopped, whatever I was doing. I went up and I told my stepdad, well, hey, did you see this? I don't know if it's real or not. And for 20 minutes, I was like, oh, no, that's fake. Mm-hmm. We just ignored it. And then, more people started to pop through the A2D group. Was like, hey, do we know what this is? Like, nobody, thought like it could be true. It was about an hour's worth of, we're just waiting for something to come out, He'll post a video or a tweet, or we'll see him at the game, or the Lakers will come out, because being in a technology era, we've all come across hoax of larger celebrities come out and say, oh no, that's right. People fake deaths all the time to get people to go to their page, and then it just didn't change. For the course of the day, you just find out more details as it goes on, and
I felt like it was bad, and then the ABC News report comes out and says all of his daughters are on the plane. Yeah. It gets worse. Then it's like, we don't know what's going on with Vanessa. I mean, it's just, I literally was in the middle of the road at a stop sign. I just stopped, and my wife looked at me, and she was just like, well, what happened? I was like, I know they didn't say what I think they said. And then when they said it again, I'm like, this is very, very early. Like, they only had the TMZ report. And I was just kind of like, it's a part of me now is even, it's like, it's so surreal. Like, we're even sitting here talking about him being gone. Mm-hmm. And my reaction was just, I'm like, it's just kind of not numb to or desensitized to the loss, but it was just like, nah, like, you talking about a guy who worked out just as hard, who was in the gym. And we heard the story from AI saying when they played in '96 in their rookie year, like, what you about to do after they had dinner? He's like, I'm going to the club. AI's answer. Kobe says, AI's like, where you going? I said, I'm going to the gym. Mm-hmm. So on that level, but there's just that I was just literally, I will always remember that. My daughter in the back seat, my wife sitting to my right, and just like stuck. Yeah. Like, just not moving.
And to your point, we could all agree, obviously it transcends, even sports in general, down to life. With me not being huge into basketball, and just as on the personal level, to have somebody, not only somebody lose their life, but a child's life, and to leave other children behind it, it's something that's in all that you could think. That would ever happen. Like, you never think that you're going to go on a trip or take somebody, it could be, granted we don't have helicopters, but it could be a car accident. You don't ever think that just a whole family is just gone. Yeah. Especially when somebody has had such an impact on everybody's life. And the first thing I had thought of was, Roy Halladay. Had passed a similar manner in a freak accident in a plane. And in this area, yes, it was big. To his family, obviously everyone will always remember Doc, and it was big in the sports world, but not even close to comparison of the reach that I've seen over since Sunday till now, as far as the outreach for Kobe. It's really worldwide. Seeing news articles in France and Italy and China of his reach, and for the impact that he has had, just nationally to, in a time where there's other things going on outside of sports, which is just a game, on the basic level, to stop every news media across. We've talked about CNN, NBC, all those, and for that to be the headline is outstanding.
I was away in Florida this weekend, and we were visiting Mary's brother and sister-in-law, and I had gone upstairs to their house to start getting ready. We were gonna head out to the park, and I looked at my phone, and I saw in our friend online, Vinny Massington. He posted in his group page. He's like, I don't know if this is real or not. Can anyone confirm? And I saw the link, and I was like, this can't be real. Kind of like what you guys experienced. But I couldn't not look into it more. Like I was like, this is significant. I need to find out more. And then the more I dug around, it was just the same source. And then we started talking about it on the A2D chat where we discuss content, and that's when it kind of hit me. I think I was like, oh boy, this is real. And then once other credible news people started confirming and talking about it, that's when I yelled downstairs for everyone, to Mary and her brother and her sister-in-law. I was like, Kobe's dead. And for me it's weird because I'll be upfront. When he was playing, I was never a Kobe fan. I personally was not a Kobe fan. I didn't like him. When I started watching basketball, really in 2000, 2001 era, he was to me he was the main rival of AI. And I didn't like the Lakers. I didn't like Kobe. I thought he was selfish and cocky. I didn't like his attitude. Seemed like a ball hog, and I didn't like him. And I didn't like him for a long time. The whole case with his rape accusations didn't make it any better. But the more I learned about the guy over the past several years, maybe 10 or so years, the more I really started to realize that I respected him on a level that I hadn't previously wanted to admit to myself, but I was starting to be mature enough to admit.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And what first really drew me to him was his work ethic. You hear stories about MJ and you hear stories about all these other athletes, but to me, his work ethic, the fact that he would stay. There were numerous stories. I'm sure all of you have heard of it, of him working out at the gym at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, calling his trainer, waking him up for conditioning when he's already been working out for hours. And, the story about AI you brought up. And, I would think man, if only AI had this work ethic, man, if you combine AI's talent with Kobe's work ethic, you'd have the all-time greatest player ever. And, Kobe, man, as time went on, the more I grew up, the more respect I had for him, and the more even though I didn't want to admit it, the more I did start to like him. And then he retired, and when I saw him, as I see him with his family, that's when the respect really started to grow, and I see how he was with his children and all the other stuff with the community, and stories about him doing things for sick children and hospitals, but not wanting the press for it. He didn't want the publicity. it was like it was a kind of like it's kind of like that enemy you grew up against, but at the end of the day, you have nothing but the utmost respect for him. And I think Shaq said it when I was watching. Shaq said it like he was just one of those guys you would think that was going to be around forever.
Yep.
He was going to be around forever. And I sit here, was it 2 days now? Almost 2 whole days, a little bit more than that, since his passing, since the incident. And I'll be honest, part of me still doesn't believe it. I still can't comprehend. I can't bring my head to comprehend that Kobe Bryant, the Kobe, is not here.
Yeah.
I can't comprehend it. I can't put my head around it. And the last time I felt this way was, and it's just because I was a huge fan of him, was when Michael Jackson died.
Yeah.
And I couldn't comprehend it. And this is another one of those. And it again, it goes beyond sports. And then when you think about, like, to me, what really hits, and again, the basketball thing is one thing in itself, but the fact that his daughter was lost too, and 7 other people. Like, man, like I would watch these clips over again that I've seen before, but then you watch him again with him and his daughter, and how he speaks about his daughter, and how Gianna was gonna
go to UConn.
He's gonna go to UConn, carry his legacy.
Yeah.
Yo, that's sad to happen. You know,
Yeah.
like that's not supposed to happen. That's not supposed to happen.
So just to go into a little more detail, since you brought up the non-basketball side, I don't think many of these guys know this. I've been new to the A2D family now for about going on 2 years. I have exactly 4 daughters.
Yeah.
Just like Kobe. So my girls are my everything, man. I couldn't even imagine losing any of them. Like, take me instead, you know, and to know, well, from what we're hearing now, it wasn't like he saw himself like it was a descent. It was just almost like it was an instant thing. And obviously, if he had the wherewithal, he would do things different. And like Chuck's, I wouldn't say I wasn't a Kobe fan. I just didn't appreciate Kobe for what he was. And he was, because he was that guy that went about his business, that wasn't flashy. The only time he was ever like front page news was during a rape allegation. Outside of that, he was just grinding, winning championships. It's been guys that I've seen with that grit and that determination, along with athletic talent at an elite level. It's been 3 people I've seen like that. That's Mike, Kobe, and Tiger. That's it, who go out and they put the work in and day out.
Maybe LeBron. You can even maybe throw LeBron.
And LeBron,
so
yeah.
Probably those 4.
For me, it's just, as a father, man, I can only imagine, you know, and what Vanessa's going through. We heard about his oldest daughter had to be taken to the hospital. And then when you think about Capri, I know they have a 4-year-old too, but you think about Capri, she's 8 months old, 6, 7 months old. She'll have to learn about her father through what we see, through stories. And that's kind of like with Clemente, man. And it feels like something like Brodo shared the video when the witnesses, and he said people who've lived at that area have never seen the fog that dense and that low. So it's eerie things like that where you speak about the ironic of it, the ironic aspects of it. Like, things happen like this, one of it, like it's a specific thing on a specific day. But I'm a firm believer, and this is going to sound crazy, but good people go because their work here
It's done.
is already done. There's nothing else for them to do here. This legacy that he's planted, this seed that he's planted in his daughters, and I bet you, Gigi was the only one who played basketball up until this point. One of those girls, those younger girls, they're gonna take up the mantle now, and they're gonna carry on that Bryant legacy. And I think the most heartbreaking thing for me is now you see the pictures. It's like and we see this in wrestling all the time. Guys walk away. They can never truly walk away. It's been one guy I've ever seen do it, and that's Sean. To be truly content were not coming out to 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, and WrestleMania 70,000 screaming fans. Kobe had L.A. in the palm of his hand for 20 years, 41 times each year, and not counting playoffs when he was in L.A. in the Staples Center or the Forum. Mm-hmm. And he was just as content sitting on the sideline with his 13-year-old, 12-year-old daughter, smiling. My man done won an Oscar. He done won an Emmy already. Doing more, not just for men's basketball, because he didn't have boys. He started to put everything he had in the women's basketball and trying to raise that level. He was on his way to the Mamba Academy. And like kind of Chuck said, but I can't sit here and try to wrap my head around it. That's not for me to do. All I can do, and I think all of us can do at some point, everybody's going to be different. It's just we have it, it happened, we accept it for what it is, and we live on in this legacy. And this, I mean, I used to say things to try to be like this person, try to be like that, to be an example. Just, if I could live my life like Kobe did and be half of that and a quarter of that, you know what I mean, I'll be good.
All of us could be half of that.
My father, like,
be a better world for sure.
To me, my hero is my dad. Like that's number one. My dad's been gone now. This will be 9 years in June. Yeah. My everything. But there's other people underneath of that show those qualities that you can learn lessons from. Mm-hmm. We all can learn a lesson from Kobe because we see LeBron, and he does that. We see Steph doing the shimmy shake all out there. That was never Kobe. That was never Kobe. You know what I mean? So when he seems like how if you rack your brain around and try to figure out how is this fair? Why did this happen? How did it happen? You hear the story. It's like it's just a freak thing. It's like why? Why did it have to happen? That's not for me to determine. You know what I mean? And those other 7 families who's not getting as much press, who's not being talked about, we're not seeing those names. We're just listening to them. And I've already called them the Forgotten 7. And it's to no fault of their own. And to those families who are out there having this loss as well, it was 3 other 13-year-old girls on that flight. Mm-hmm. It's now 2 kids that have no mom, no dad, and no sister. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not sure about the pilot if he had a family and loved ones and friends. Yeah. So this just is affecting the basketball world, the sports world. This is affecting everyday people who didn't have as many resources as Kobe had. Mm-hmm. You know, we hear about the impact in China. We hear the impact in Italy. We see soccer players throwing up 24. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like
tennis players coming out and warming up with his jersey on.
Jersey on. Novak, I can't think of his last name, said when this is a dude that his profession is at the top, got hurt, he's reaching out to Kobe for inspiration. You know what I mean? And it's just like, dude, like the way it happened like that. But it usually takes something abnormal to take somebody from here that's so strong.
Yeah. I mean, you know, for me, I was obviously having people over for Royal Rumble, and, you know, the news was on in the background, and I heard Kobe's name mentioned. And it wasn't like a sports channel. It was like a news outlet. And I could hear Kobe's name mentioned, which alone is alarming because it had to be some huge story for that to be mentioned. And I kind of stopped what I was doing and just kind of flipped my head around. And they basically said breaking news from the sports world. NBA legend Kobe Bryant has reportedly been in a helicopter accident and has passed away. And I literally went, what? Over and over for like 40 seconds straight. And I started pacing around my house. I'm like saying what as I'm listening to it. I went into a couple other rooms where my family was, and I'm like, Kobe Bryant just passed away. And they were like, wait, what? I was like, yeah, it just came on the news. So I kind of came back in, and I just kind of stopped everything I was doing and got fixated. And obviously we were real active in the chat because, you know, there's so many mixed reports of details. Right. You know, first you're hearing all of his children were on board, which probably should have been assigned to us. Like none of us, I think, were thinking logically. Yeah. We had mentioned it, but we still were thinking maybe he would be that foolish to put a newborn on a helicopter. Yeah. But we thought, you know, oh, man, like all of his daughters, but like, why would he have them? And Vanessa and his wife wouldn't be on there.
Yeah.
And then we had the report that 3 of them and only the newborn in him wasn't on board. Then we heard Rick Fox was on board, and you just kept hearing all these crazy things. But I think overall it was just like, whoa, like this is crazy. And I was just really taken back by it, and I kind of just want to like. I mean, it was as shocking as you can get.
Yeah.
You guys kind of touched on all the shock and of the value of it. I mean, everybody was texting everybody. Is this real? I can't believe this. But I kind of want to take it back a couple steps because, kind of, first of all, kind of following up on what Chuck's was saying, like, when I got into the NBA was the year Shaq got drafted. And I was not a Sixers fan. And I liked whoever Shaq was on. So I was a Magic fan first, and when Shaq signed with LA, I became a Lakers fan. And, I remember Kobe got drafted. I have like a 900 Kobe Bryant rookie cards, by the way. I still have my old cards from then. But, I remember Kobe got drafted and was traded to the Lakers. And kind of similar to Chuck's, like I didn't think anything early years, but I wasn't a big fan of Kobe. Because I was a Shaq guy, and I did feel like there was a young, selfish aspect of the guy. Now, I'll get to it, but you put things in hindsight after a while.
Yeah.
And then, you're young and impressionable. I was a young teenager, and I'm hearing people talking about, he doesn't act like he's from Philly. Because for some reason we feel like everybody has to put Philadelphia over everything in their life. Yeah. I don't know why that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I never.
Especially when you were younger.
Looking back, I don't ever recall him downing Philadelphia or not claiming, his history, his personal history from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
But like people didn't like that. Like
cut your hearts out.
He should look at it that way.
Yeah.
Like that's. If I'm playing the Sixers in the NBA Finals,
that's how you have to. That's how you have to feel.
I'm a Laker.
And if he was a Sixer saying that to Lakers fans, we would have no problem with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like, you put a lot of things in perspective. I didn't like him. I didn't like how the whole thing went down with Shaq going out, to be honest. And I do think that was an immaturity on his end. And Shaq was a little bit.
Yeah, it takes two.
Shaq had an ego.
Yeah.
And Kobe had an ego, and Kobe at that point really had not proven anything without Shaq. Shaq had proven. So it did seem like he kind of ran him off. Mm-hmm. And maybe whether he did or didn't, that's between them. We never got the clear picture on that. Mm-hmm. But you hear Shaq talk today, including actually talking today. They could have won 8, 9, 10 championships together if they would have managed to figure out how to coexist.
Yep.
But, I think back to... And I was messaging you guys. It's so crazy. I found the clips from the game.
Yeah.
My first NBA game I ever went to, I wanted to just kind of pull up the stats because I think I told you guys before about it, to where my first NBA game, I was a Lakers fan. Mm-hmm. My parents got me tickets. It was November 28th, 1997, to go see. I wanted to see Shaq. Shaq had an abdominal strain and had missed time early in the year. So Shaq actually didn't play in the game. And I can even tell you what the starting lineup, sorry, just to kind of date the time. For the Sixers, it was Eric Montross, Clarence Weatherspoon, Jerry Stackhouse, Jim Jackson, and Allen Iverson. Excuse me. For the Lakers, it was Eldon Campbell in place of Shaq.
Okay. AC Green.
Robert Horry. Rick Fox, Eddie Jones, and Nick Van Exel.
Oh, Van Exel.
Kobe came off the bench. And the things I can vividly remember from that game were my father was supposed to take me, and it's the one and only NBA game my mother ever took me. My dad used to work at be a longshoreman. He worked 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off. They bought the tickets, and then he ended up having his weeks switched, so he had to work. So my mother actually took me to my first NBA game. I remember watching Kobe do a 360 dunk.
Yeah.
And I was kind of up on an angle, and he was going away from me, so I could see the 360 and everything. And then I remember that Allen Iverson went off in that game, and I remember that night was the night I became a Sixers fan. because Shaq wasn't there to impression me. And I remember being enamored watching Kobe do those athletes. He had a couple dunks that night, but I will never forget. I can see it like I'm still sitting in the seats, Kobe doing that 360 dunk. And I remember leaving that game thinking that the young talent in this league, in like a kid way of thinking of it, just like these young guys are guys that I could like latch on to. They're very exciting. And just thinking, like, I want to be a Sixers fan watching Allen Iverson go up against Kobe Bryant. And from that point, you know, I was still a Shaq fan until he left the Lakers. Well, I was always a Shaq fan, but I was, you know, a Laker fan until he left the Lakers. So I watched a lot of Kobe games.
Yeah.
And I became a Sixers fan on November 28th, 1997. And I will never forget my first game going and watching Kobe Bryant do a 360 dunk. And to me, it's despite what Iverson did that night, I will always remember that was the most exciting play I had seen. One of the most exciting things I had seen in a long, like, ever. And I'll never forget it. But I think now, and I put it all into, like, retrospect, and it's kind of like what you guys were saying, like, you know, you get older and you get life experience and you start looking at people differently. Like, we can't, you know, it wouldn't be fair to not talk about or not acknowledge that there was a sexual assault allegation there.
It's a part of, and he was young.
It's part of the story.
Yeah.
And, you know, we are in a society where second chances people are entitled to a second chance. It's what you do with them.
Yeah. And they made the best of it.
You talk about what Mike Vick did.
Yeah.
You know, I said before Mike Vick signed with the Eagles, the day he got released, I said, guy deserves a chance to come back in the league. He served his time. He's done this and that. If he can come back and show that he's a productive citizen
and change
and do good things, and he has.
Yeah.
I mean, dogfighting was a huge issue in this city.
Yeah.
The statistics for dogfighting went down drastically while Mike Vick was a Philadelphia Eagle. Yeah. That is a fact.
Yeah.
And I look back at Kobe and over the years, and for all the people that continue to harness anger over certain things like that, I say, listen, we're a society that never forgets anything that anyone's done. The internet is a powerful tool now, too. But when I watch day to day, particularly over the last 2 days, and the countless accounts of female media personalities who have talked about when locker rooms would not allow them in there, like Rachel Nichols, who wasn't a very welcoming environment, or the other young lady, I can't remember her name, who talked about, you know, she met him one time, but he talked to her like basically they had known each other and gave her parenting advice and congratulated her and took this picture. And there's been numerous stories.
Serena Winters
tonight talking about her experience when she worked for the Lakers with Kobe there. And then what he did after.
Yeah.
Tweeting out on his social media, who most people don't remember who she is.
Yeah.
But put her out there for the world to see and say, and like, this is a talented woman. Congratulations and good luck. Like, I look at those women who can look at who the man was then and see what he's become in terms of a father, in terms of a role model. Take the off-the-court stuff. Because all of them have said, we know we could talk about everything he's done on the court.
Yeah.
It's everything he's done off the court.
Yeah.
All the advice that he's given. You know, he left the game and he took time away from the game. His daughter brought him back to the game.
Yeah.
And he has done nothing but give back. You talk about, you know, who's the female college player that he has worked with?
Sabrina Ionescu out of Oregon.
Talk about, the work he's worked with the girls in Oregon. You know, the things with the Mamba Academy, UConn. I mean, it's just thing after thing after thing after thing. Like, this dude has reprieved himself 20,000 times over.
Yeah.
And has done so much more good than bad.
Yeah.
To me, like, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm just saying, like, you know, I look at those things and those stories that I'm hearing. And when you talk about Matt Barnes, who talks about, this is like on the court, and you think about the mentality of a guy. Like, we all hold grudges and we get mad about stuff, right? But he talked about, like, the ball fake in his face and where him and Kobe were, like, eye to eye. Kobe gets him on the phone in the offseason and says, anybody who can go toe-to-toe with me can play on a team with me. I want you to play with me.
Yeah.
Athletes don't do that.
Yeah.
Look at Russell Westbrook and Joel Embiid. Russell Westbrook can't let the Joel stuff go.
Yeah.
Like, that's legendary stuff.
Yeah.
That's not like I'm a good player. I could put up a bunch of stats. I'm a good NBA player. I'm a legend in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you look at that kind of stuff. And, like, to me now, I look at his legacy and I do look back. And those last probably 5 or 6 or 7 years, I did reevaluate Kobe and say, like, I'm hating a guy because when I was a kid, I was told I should hate a guy.
Yeah.
Right.
I was told that this guy isn't a Philadelphian. And now as I grow up, I'm like, who cares?
Yeah.
He is a Philadelphia guy.
Yeah.
Why can't he be LA and Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Why can't he support the community that he has invested so much and has invested in him?
Yeah.
And why can't he come back and still get a warm welcome here?
Yeah.
And I just look at all that stuff in perspective, and I just think, like,
Yeah. It's sad, man.
And
it's unbelievable.
And it's not to say, and like I want to be clear because I 100% agree with you. And it's not to say that we should ignore the stuff that has happened,
Right.
especially in terms of that.
It never
case.
goes away.
It's the what's the saying? It goes like, forgive but don't forget.
Right.
And like I'm not saying we should ever forget it. And I am not that woman or any woman that obviously has been through sexual abuse. And my heart goes out to every single one of them. And I am not going to tell any of those women how to feel. I'm not going to tell them, oh, no, you should forget about it. That's wrong of me. I would never tell anyone to do that. I think that this goes to that one, Washington Post reporter.
Well, she's suspended now.
Yeah, she's suspended. Posting that the day of the funeral is just horrible timing.
Well, the day he died.
The day he died. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, you're right. To me, it's just horrible timing, and it's the fact that, like, you don't have to forget, but just like, have the sense to.
Chucks, I'm gonna take it even a step further than that. Ari Shaffir, you guys know who that is? Comedian.
Yeah.
Have you seen the video that he put out?
No.
Where he did a video in Charlotte and basically said that Kobe died 23 years later than he should have and went through the rape allegations and this and that. And then he put out a tweet that said, Kobe Bryant died 23 years too late today. He got away with rape because of Hollywood liberals who attack comedy, enjoy rooting for the Lakers
read that, yeah.
more than they dislike rape. Big ups to the hero who forgot to gas up the chopper. I hate the Lakers. What a great day. Hashtag
I read that.
F the Lakers. Let me respond to stuff like that. Okay? He's a guy who likes to make shock comments.
Right.
Shock comedy, dark comedy, whatever. Even if you don't like Kobe Bryant.
Just shut up.
I'm not even going to comment on the fact that it's Kobe. What I'm going to comment on the fact is why that's even insensitive. There are 8. Shout out to the guy who forgot to gas up the chopper.
There are other people.
There's 8 other people who died. Children who died.
Yeah.
There's what you're gonna tell that to the Bryant family, to all the other family that's there. Like
family,
it's like where's your humanity? Like regardless of how you felt, regardless of how you felt toward Kobe, you can't ignore the fact that he was a father to 4 girls, a husband to Vanessa, and they are grieving. Like it's this whole like eye for an eye mentality that people want to adopt, where like, oh, you did bad, so you deserve bad on you. I know I don't know if I'm the only religious one here on this panel.
I started going to church.
But
recently.
I'm with you, man.
The one Bible verse that has always stuck with me for years that I try my best to, because it's the hardest verse to me to follow, is love your enemies.
Yep.
Like, if someone does bad, I try to always remind myself that as angry as I get, it doesn't do anything for me to wish harm on them.
Correct. Right.
It only helps if I pray for them and wish for and hope for them to turn things around.
Correct.
And that's why I always believe people deserve a second chance. If they messed up, to me it's like, what are you going to do after that?
Yeah.
To mend yourself, because no one is perfect. I'm not going to cast the first stone because I know myself. I've messed up so many times. So, like, the whole mentality of holding a grudge and not letting they're not being respectful to a family and multiple families of this tragedy just because you feel a certain way about Kobe. It lacks human decency and the human
decorum, man.
Well, then he tried to backtrack on Instagram. First of all, he blocked his Twitter, and then he tried to backtrack on Instagram but shut the comments off, saying that he's basically a shock comedian, this and that. And he said, whenever something happens and somebody's at their peak, I always take the other side to do this. And he said, I only meant it as a joke. Like, bro, that's no joke.
It's not a joke.
Even if you're making a joke of Kobe, whatever, like, I could be super pissed, but I'm looking at kids dying in this.
Yes.
And you're making a joke about props to the person who didn't put the gas in the chop.
Yeah, that's
and that didn't even have anything to do with it.
Like, and I look at this, like, that's as heartless as it gets. Yeah. That's as stupid and inconsiderate and unself-aware as it gets.
Mm-hmm.
And I am happy to see on Twitter, if you search his name, there are numerous people tweeting out his tour dates and that are calling the venues he is working at, and making complaints to get him canceled off of his venues.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know what Joe Rogan's feelings are, because he's a Joe Rogan buddy and he's been on his podcast, but Joe Rogan has made no comments about anything, and I don't think he would support that. But man, he's getting ripped apart on his Twitter or on his Instagram because of this guy.
Just about
like, dude, you don't even know what you're affecting other people that are around you from association.
I mean, to any of those people, before we get up out of here, to any people who still choose to take that side, it's like, listen, man, like you stated, when you were younger, you were told to act a certain way, but then once you grow up, nobody's is the same person. That's what
nobody's perfect.
That's the beauty of this world, is that we can make mistakes and we evolve. And we on this time frame that we have here on this earth is very, very short. Yeah. So if you choose to put your energy into an allegation of rape towards a man who lost his daughter, but that venom that you spitting, those other 7 families that have also been affected.
You're overshadowing it, man.
Yeah, like you making it seem like they died for nothing because of your venom, for your hate for one person.
Yeah.
Because of an allegation in 2003 when a man was 24, 25 years old, had all the money in the world, his dreams come true, and probably made a bad decision. We will never, ever know. Mm-hmm. To fault that man now who's going on 20 years later to father 4 girls. And see, this is to get on a God level real quick, really to get up out of here. God to do things to make things come back. So you get rape allegations, right? This is before he had any children. God gave him 4 daughters. Mm-hmm. You think about that, if he actually did do it, what's going through his mind now that he has to raise 4 daughters. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Yep. So the punishment is already in there. You reap what you sow. Mm-hmm. And not saying that whatever, but God, man, listen, I can go on and on and talk about God sitting here and really start getting into it, because he calls the good ones home early, man.
I mean, you talk about somebody that was drafted out of high school, 18, 19 years old, that goes into a league, and we talked about it last week.
Goes to L.A.
LA, yeah.
We talked about it last week about support systems and things that these different sports leagues are doing and setting up to protect guys. Not only financially with right. protecting their money, mentally as far as healthcare goes, but on a personal level to actually put in a rule now that the guys like that can't be drafted for the maturity levels, to where, hey, go get a little bit more experience, go to college at least a year or two, and
still act like knuckleheads,
and grow up a little bit so things don't happen. And then he obviously has to become an adult real quick, playing in LA, amongst men out there. But then 20 years after the fact, try to hold something against somebody. We talk about all the different athletes that go through, whether it be stuff like Michael Vick, where he actually serves his time, or just different allegations they get brought up and dropped, whatever it might be. But 20 years after the fact that goes, there's a time and place for it. Obviously everyone else has forgotten about it. Maybe not necessarily forgotten, but pushed aside with all the good that he's done onto it. So, it's just time and place.
Yeah, just wrapping up. I mean, I think his legacy is a guy who, at a young age, had everything handed to him that he worked for,
Right.
and had the world by the balls. And as a young man, yes, nobody's perfect. If anybody out there tells me they're perfect, you're a liar.
Yep.
Who has made mistakes, maybe one major mistake, but he managed to take his life after that mistake and do wonderful things with it and reprieve himself 50 times over, and has left a lasting legacy on people that transcends sports. It transcends borders and countries, and is felt throughout the world on a Michael Jackson scale or anybody of that ilk.
Yeah.
So
he was just a very good human being, man.
it's very sad. And again, we send our condolences to the Bryant family, to all of the families who were affected, all 9 victims in this. And God bless you guys.
Man, just hug your loved ones tighter.
That's it.
A little bit closer.
You never know. Shaq talked about it. You don't know. We need to make a better effort and start hugging people and letting people know we love them. I tell you guys every time I leave, I love you guys. Yeah, it's just what I do.
I love you.
Love you back, brother.
But yeah, so shout out to our we love our sponsors. Thank you to Specialized Physical Therapy. Thank you to the doc. We love him. Thank you to ATS Sports Picks. Remember, use the promo code. We love Ryan Brodo for producing a great show again, as always.
Hi.
Enjoy the Super Bowl, guys.
Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.
Kev's gonna love JBG.
Let's see Andy get it.
Kev loves JBG.
And until then, we love you, the fam. Check us out. Check us out all week. Ryan will be on tomorrow with the Fix and AM and the PM.
AM and the PM.
Until next week, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.